And what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fortheboys podcast. What's up, boys? How we all doing?
So we good, we good.
Suppose. Yo.
This podcast is created for the boys as a safe place to share, I guess, their stories, their journeys, and the battle that comes with it. I'm Teza.
I'm Swanky the second.
Chief.
Thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching us via our stream or listening through our podcast. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. I'd like to run it back and say thank you to last week's guest
Thank you,
Nixon Clark.
Dixon.
And the viewers.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, it's a mean show. Thank you for tuning in.
I also want to say, we're not professionals here. We're just here to share our experiences in life. We're all going through this life together. We might as well help each other out along the way. And we're not professionals. We're just learning off each other. And that's what the boys are here for.
That's us.
Exactly, man,
Super
and
cool.
that's what it's all about. It's about helping each other out, and hopefully, in this life, we all get to travel along, and hopefully, it's a safe one.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell I just said. Sorry, guys.
I get you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, bro. How's everyone doing? Swanky, Chief, how we all doing?
Kudos, Work is alright. Can't complain.
That's it.
Still have a job, so
Well,
going
especially
well.
in these trying times.
Oh, I'd like to throw a little shout out to my little sister. Happy 19th birthday.
Hey, sup,
If you know,
sis?
you know.
Happy
Sup,
birthday.
sis? Happy birthday. Happy
Birthday.
19th.
They grow so fast, man. Next minute,
It's life, eh?
they're as tall as like you, man. They're like shoulder to shoulder, something.
It's like my girls, my two younger girls. They're already telling me what to do. So, and they're only three. They're only 3 and 1.
Damn, shucks.
How's your young fella, Chief?
Yo, he's all good, man. Growing too quick, man. Already throwing the temper tantrums, early twos.
Yeah.
Oh, the terrible twos, eh?
They're terrible, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, the terrible twos.
Nah, sharp boys.
We're embracing, man.
Man. Anyway, boys, we'll get on with it. We'll be running it back tonight's episode. So we've got the brother Ian Toki. He'll be joining us shortly. Just before we bring him on, if you haven't listened to his podcast or watched his part 1, go back because there's quite a few nuggets you can take away from his podcast. And I don't want to say it here, but yeah, it's just about his treatment throughout, I guess, court process and everything. But what I say now, it's a lot better if you go run it back and jump on our podcast. So we're on all podcast platforms. We're also on YouTube and Facebook. We've got 2 Facebook pages. One's a closed group and one's a page. We're both streaming to. We're streaming to both Facebook pages. So pick one. So yeah, why don't we bring the also in Ian?
What's up, guys?
What's up? What's
Sorry,
up?
yeah.
Kia ora. How are you,
How you
brother?
doing, bro?
Yeah, no, not too bad, not too bad. Again, thank you guys for allowing me on this platform. I think it's like a privilege to be on here speaking on, on the topic of mental health. I think it's a great setting, especially for us as men, to share your, to share your story. So thank you again for inviting me back for part 2.
Yeah. Mental health is, especially in our community, in the poly world, it's quite big. So I guess to have a platform like this, the honor is ours because we get to share your story. We get to share everyone that's jumped on their story, and I think we're just an outlet for people that are interested in jumping on and sharing, because like I said at the beginning, um, sharing stories in the hope that someone can benefit from it. That goes a long way, because there may be someone out there that's struggling, maybe someone out there that's going through a tough time, um, and they might be going through something that's similar to what Ian's going to be talking to previously and maybe tonight. So, um, yeah, thank you for jumping on. But also, we've always got the man that's making the big intros. Let's bring Myths. Oh,
Oh no.
the working man.
Oh no.
Walang ngawi
The
usap.
only one who works out of
Oh,
all people on this podcast.
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh. Good to see you listening to Auntie Jacindo's. Let's
I'm
cover
always,
up for each
always
other.
at work. Always at work.
Oh. The people.
Just
Say
want to
thank
know.
you. No?
Just want to know. Where'd you
So,
get that face mask?
oh, this is one of our listeners. Actually, has a little business. If everybody remembers Lance, he always comments on our weekly shows. Yeah, this is his kids are running this little business called Mask Familiar on Instagram. So there's a plug.
Oh,
He's at a really good sale on at the moment. Get in there and grab some, man. Also the science. Cop
We'll
them
definitely we'll definitely check that up on our page. So is it at Mask Familiar? Is it?
at Mask Familiar.
Nice, nice. So if you're after Mask, guys, we'll leave that in our maybe on this chat if we can get it up there, Swanky.
Say Jesus.
Well, I was trying to my lot in. Well, Chief and
My lord, boss.
no, Shamafi.
So again, Ian needs no introduction, but for those that are just tuning on tonight, just give us a brief intro, bro, and yeah.
Solid guys. Thanks again. Just quickly, my name is Ian. I'm born and raised in Natal, currently residing out in Drury. Happily married, wife, no kids yet, but hopefully the Lord will bless us one day. Yeah, come from a very big family of 10, and come from the beautiful islands of Cook Island, but born in New Zealand, so consider myself a Kiwi. Yeah, that's my intro, and I guess I just wanted this opportunity to do a quick shout out before I start to the Toko Luke. He gets married this Saturday. Hopefully, we can come down a level. So everyone who is invited can attend his special day. So yeah, I had to rush from all the way from Mota to Jury to make the show because I knew how important the show was, and try and keep on time from the rehearsal. So yeah, I just want to make that plug and give a shout out to the Toko. Thanks, guys.
Shout out to Luke, man.
Shout out to Luke.
Yo, congrats.
Nice, Luke.
And thank you for making the effort, speeding all the way.
Speeding into the limit.
Speeding under the limit. Speeding under the limit.
20-minute drive, made it in 10. I don't know. Do you do your maths?
Under the limit. Under the limit.
Safe as.
All
safe
right.
as.
All right. We're gonna just kick it off. Enough talking from us. That's 10 minutes of rubbish you guys didn't want to listen to. Again, so if you have any questions, Ian's will happily answer your questions. Sorry. So jump on the chat, chuck your questions up there, and we'll be running it back on questions that weren't answered in part 1, which is episode 3. Episode 3, we'll be going back and revisiting some of the questions that were. So we'll just hand it over to Ian, and we'll get the show going.
Cool. Thanks, guys. And again, thank you for putting up with my, I guess, 2 hours of chat. I actually thought that everyone was falling asleep, so I decided to cut the show myself. But no,
We were getting
I'm,
alarms. We were getting alarms at 1 hour, but we're like, yeah.
we're getting. I saw the Z's on the side. So I thought I better cut it.
The
You know,
alarm was
so-
going off for an hour. And,
Terry.
sorry. Yeah. Oh man.
so just a heads up, this won't be a 2 hour show. Just letting you all know.
Don't worry, it won't be an emotional one either. But yeah. I mean, I had a bit of I was thinking about like how I was going to approach this part. And one thing I knew is that I kind of want to allow time to answer some of the questions that were asked from the last show. So, you know, this part is about, I guess, life after prison. I just want to kind of, I guess, touch on sort of my time towards the back end of my prison time, because that's kind of what I guess drove me to, I guess, achieve certain goals when I get released eventually. So, I mean, as I sit today, 15 years later, I'm quite content with my life at the moment, and no doubt there's been a lot of challenges in those 15 years, a lot of challenges, and it's kind of hard to forget about some of those bad experiences I went through. Not only during my prison sentence, but also prior to that. But I just want to thank a few of my mates out there that really helped me through, and my family first and foremost. Every one of them, and they know who they are. They're quite instrumental in terms of my life after prison, and because I had their support there, and you know, it's because a lot of people tell me, even inside, they'd say things like, you know, there's only two kinds of inmates these days: ones that go in and then they keep going in and out, and then there's those ones that learn their lesson from the beginning, and you know, I guess make a life of it on the outside. And I was determined to be that second person, and but you know, to start off with, I had a really supportive family and a group of mates, and you know, one of my best mates, as well, I'll make a plug now. Maya, he really helped me through this. He really helped me through this time, and I know it was a bit hard on him too, but they also was there for me, and even right through the process and after, and still today, and so, and all the rest of my boys, you know, and they know who they are, because I've got a, you know, very good group of mates that regardless of any issues, you know, they're there for me, you know, and like this platform is there for anyone out there. I guess they act like that sort of platform on, you know, in person. But just towards the back end of my prison sentence,
Sorry,
I
bro.
guess
Before you go on, how? So you say it's important to have it, to have friends or family. What were you going through mentally when let's say everything wasn't going your way, and I guess thinking about having someone call you or someone contact you, or how did you know the family was there? Like, even though you've gone in, you're mentally switched. You're gone. I don't. You know, you're thinking about other stuff. But how did you? What were you thinking in regards to, like, you saying you had family supporting you? You had
The reassurance.
yeah.
yeah. I guess to be honest, you know, when you go through issues, you think you're the only one going for them. you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that, like, I was facing prison, and I thought I was the only one going for them. So it's easy to be selfish at that time, and I guess that's the danger. When you start thinking about yourself, you don't think about who's actually helping you and supporting you on the outside. Even when I was outside, I never realized actually how deep the support was from the family. I knew the family had my back. You know, that's a given. You know, right through, even right through to the court case, and there was some emotions in that court case once the verdict was read out. You know, and that's when it really hit home how much my friends and my family really cared. And but it was actually in time when I got all that time to myself, when I actually thought about the actual, what the family actually done, and my friends, and I thought about one thing I didn't mention in my in part one 2 weeks ago, was that when we were going through my trial, I only had one witness. I only had one witness that was called to the stand, where the Crown had about over 30 witnesses. You know, it's quite amazing how you can have so many witnesses to something I never even done. But when the crown, when the crown roll, they really roll. They bring the big guns. So when you go up against the crown, you go up against the crown, the whole country, and
Yeah, yeah,
even,
for sure.
yeah, even the whole of bloody the royal family, because that's where you know. But that
That's the
that's
crown.
that's that's the magnitude.
Yeah.
Um, so
Did,
yeah.
sorry, bro. Sorry to cut you off, man.
No, all good,
But
bro.
I know it was like years ago. But did your lawyer even like say to you? Do you have anyone to stand up for you, to testify for you?
I did, but that's where the lawyer came in, and she was real. I guess
She
what's the word? She was,
she can only
yeah.
fork up one. Oh,
I was gonna say the S word, but she was really reserved.
really shit. I'll say it for you.
I think she just hit it on the head there, right? But she she
Yeah.
she she even felt that it wasn't safe for me to stand up for myself. Yeah, I was the one going through the whole experience. She told me not to stand because they're gonna hammer me. So the only one that was witnessed for me was my mum, and so
Wow.
and my mum had the whole. She carried that big ass burden, and
Yeah.
that and I've always loved my mum, but to see my mum stand up there for me, to try and plead my innocence, that's very emotional. So I knew from the get go, like I knew I had my family support, and I knew I might have my boys. But during the process inside, um, I was talking to my family regularly, like honestly, like twice or three times a week, and we even had family days inside, which was cool, where the family got to come and visit in the prison, and we'll just have a big ass fun day, massive ass feed, and every inmate and their families are there
Yeah, so
for their
I had
one day.
I had the privilege to go down and visit Ian. So um, it's pretty good because you I don't know if anyone else has been inside and gone to like a family day or experienced a family day. Um, yeah, you go inside. Obviously, you do your checks, and the whole day. This particular day was planned by um, the inmates or the guys that were inside. And yeah, it's like barbecues, food everywhere, and you basically it's not what it seems on TV. You're behind. You're not really getting a face to face or body contact. Everything is just open.
Mm.
So that was a good experience. Before going in, I was thinking, are we gonna talk to them behind the glass? All that sort of stuff on
Yeah, what you see
on
on
yeah,
film,
yeah,
eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we went down, it was good. So the inmates had run the whole day. So from doing services to playing music to eating, and you know that. And I guess the hardest thing about going down is coming back and leaving,
Yeah.
leaving. You know, for example, my brother there. That's the
Yeah.
hardest thing because you know you're gonna have fun during the day because you get to see and say hi, but yeah, at the end of it,
Mhm.
it really breaks your heart. Even though you know that, like for me, I was making excuses, so I was saying,
Yeah.
"Oh no, he's still in New Zealand. Yeah, at least he's not overseas or getting taken somewhere else. He's in New Zealand. He's at, well, he's in Wellington, Rumitaka, and he's only a drive away. And yeah, so every time there was family days or visits, family always drive down. And yeah, that's the hardest thing is not having to say, bro, let's go. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
No, it's. I was just gonna ask around that as well for you, Terry. Like, I know it's years ago, but
Mm.
like, how was your side? Like, you as a
Yeah.
youngster. After that, were you like NWA? F the police? were you Easy E after that?
Bro, to be honest, man, um, as much as I wanted to think about it as often, I think probably I could probably count the amount of times I spoke to Ian on one hand. Five might have been only like 4 or 5 times. The hardest part, like I said, when you visit someone, you can't take them with you, and the same as talking to them on the phone. I don't know how long did we get to talk to you on the phone for, Ian?
15 minutes at a time.
Yeah. So um, the old man, he made. Did he make? Yeah. He made an old
Yeah,
0800 number, so it
yeah.
would have been easier for Ian to contact home, and at specific times Ian will ring. But yeah, every 15 minutes you talk to them, but that's never enough. That's never enough for someone to listen to what he's been doing, and you want to tell him, but at the same time, and mentally that someone that he's still there and he's not going to come out. So I tried. I don't know if I told Ian. I tried to avoid talking to him, or I tried to avoid going to family days. So I only went to one within the whole time, and it wasn't because um like I didn't want to see him. It's only because yeah, I just couldn't bring him back home, or I couldn't. I was being selfish, basically. If you think about it, I was just being selfish. I wanted to bring my
You
brother
want to
home.
avoid the pain
Yeah. I was
afterwards.
just thinking about myself instead of
Yeah,
just going down there enjoy that day or
yeah.
enjoy the phone call. So I guess the first 2 times Ian rang, I answered the first time, and then we had a chat, caught up. But my heart broke as soon as I left because I didn't cry in front of the family, but I knew deep down, like, fuck, this is bullshit. You knew what the hell was going on, and yet he was locked. He was still locked up for nothing. That kind of. But yeah, it honestly takes a lot out of you thinking, because you thinking you overthink stuff, or you think too much about the situation and how you could have made it better. So throughout the whole time, you're like, oh, if we had done this right, or if we had done this right, or should I have answered the call, or should I have gone down?
Should I have stopped them at the door?
Should I not have snitched?
Should I have not sold the information
Should I not have said he's in the room?
for
He's lying down. He's having a sleep.
for a few jolly drinks?
So nah, at that age, it was a lot. But that all goes away when you see him physically coming home and through the door. But I'll pass it back over to Ian because it sounds like I'm taking over the show.
No. To be honest, it's like I guess there's not much you can say because I think everyone knows what their feeling feels like, and you know you adopt that pain anytime you're hurt, whether it's whether you lose a loved one, whether it's someone that gets one of your family members that has cancer.
Yeah.
and prison. That all that stuff. I think the pain is the same. But it was very important for me to, I guess, when you're fallen, it's the way I was going to, get up and stand up after this and go forward. So I guess when you hit rock bottom, like I said in part one, um, the saying was there's only one way, and that's up. So I decided to stand up, and I guess after a year inside, I made an early decision to say that because I know my family was hurting when I was inside. I know my friends were hurting. So I made a decision to say, "Oh man, this is the last time I'm going to be inside." And I was real confident. And so far so good. I haven't, been anywhere near a prison cell or anything. I haven't been in trouble with the police since. So, and I guess that's all this experience, and I'm always reminded of the fact that the promise I made before I left prison, and you kind of got to make that promise before you leave, like while you're inside. I think it's a bit too late if you make it outside. I'm not saying that others haven't, but for me, it was important that I made that decision before I leave, and it was the right call because I kind of set my plan in place when I got out. I did a lot of studying inside, and I completed half my bachelor in business at Massey University. They supported me hard inside, and I was quite blown away because I wasn't really. I tried to reapply for MIT because being in OTAR, I thought, oh man, it makes sense. So when I get, I can carry on and actually be there. But they actually declined me, and I was like, oh man. And I was like, oh, not this McDonald experience over again. But no, yeah, but yeah, they actually declined me, and it was an actual, like, I actually was just gonna just stop it. I just said, oh, stuff the studies, because it's easy to really get caught up in your emotions inside, because there's no one to talk to about it, and plus you have so much time on your hands. It's easier to get caught up in the negativity that you're projected on yourself. But one of my cellmate, yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
I'm saying that with like having too much time, and you're like, how they say prison is rehabilitation. Was that your experience as well, or was it easy to go the other route and just like do that life of crime and back and forth to jail? Like, is it easy to fall in that life, or is there really help in jail that sort of guides you the other way?
I'd say, yeah, it's very easy to fall back into that sort of life, and it's really easy, being an innocent person. It's really easy to I guess kind of live a life of crime. Like, that's just the truth. They do have rehabilitation programs in there, but I was one of those cases where my crime wasn't bad enough to do any programs. And when you do programs, it helps towards your release. And so I wasn't accepted on any programs because my crime wasn't that bad. But when I'm out, like, my crime is too bad to do any program. So, it was a bit tough. And so it's like there's no middle ground. And so I couldn't do any programs. Like, seriously, like, the only thing I could do was go to this faith-based unit where they done a Christian program, because I felt that's where my journey needed to go, and that wasn't even promised. A lot of people say, oh, you're not going to guarantee release just because you're over there. But I said, oh, well, I'm going to go there just to change myself and do it as, try and, as long as I'm in here, try and make a change within myself. So at least I know when I get out, I'm a different person, And so that's the promise I made to myself. I said, oh, I'll do the 5 years if I have to. And then I kind of accepted it by then. And that story I said about, I shared about my forgiveness and experienced forgiveness for the first time. I guess that was the breaking point for me, because then I kind of let everything go, and I said, "Give me another 5 years, I'll do that time if I deserve it. But I'm gonna be here and start making that change on myself, because when you start doing that, then you start to see I guess, the blessings outside of that. And that's when I started seeing, like, I guess, the true blessing and the love that people had for me on the outside. That's when I started seeing that, and it kind of subsides everything that you're angry at for like your whole life. And that's the feeling I want not only me to experience, but everyone out there, because when they go through hard times, I know what they're going through. It's really hard to get yourself out of that, eh? But for me, when I finally experienced forgiveness, that was it. That was the magic, you know. And like, unfortunately, my experience of forgiveness, um, no one can experience that if they're going through hard times. All I can do is just share it, like on this platform, and hopefully people can go through that same experience and experience it, because everyone's got to experience their own story, eh? Because you go through that grind by yourself, and you've got to get to that point where you accept what is, and then move on from there. But you got to actually move on. A lot of people inside were saying to me, "Oh, I forgive, but I haven't forgotten." Then technically, you haven't forgiven because you're still thinking about it. It's the burden that's keeping you down. Because I try to live that too, and I thought that was actually a good, good saying. But I learned true forgiveness, and only I could learn that at that time for me, because I actually, as angry as I was in that meeting room with the pastor, when he said that, my co-offender was on the other side of the phone. I was just like, I was so pissed off, but I must have made a decision during that conversation that I'm going to let this go without realizing. And then when I did it, that's when, I don't know, there was a flood of emotions coming in. I actually broke down and cried in front of the pastor, and the pastor just looked at me, and he knew straight away. Oh, you know, there's a breakthrough.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so I guess that breakthrough meant that a lot of opportunities came with my studies. I actually, my first year of studies was before that forgiveness moment, and I was struggling. I was struggling with my papers. After that, man, I was smashing my papers. I just passed them for my papers that year. The second year, I took on another 4 papers. Man, I was smashing them in the 90s, and I was thinking, man, all this time I thought I was done. I never got any qualifications in school too. So, but
So
to
was
achieve,
that those papers were for your business degree? Is that correct?
yeah, for my business degree at Massey University. So that's kind of where the start of I guess, my love for studies came in. I never enjoyed school. This is why I got kicked out in sixth form. Um, and I thought like work was where it's at. But like I said in the first part, I quickly realized that being a student, old boy of St. Peter's is not going to get you into jobs, even into McDonald's. So, yeah, that's when it really hit home. But, there was still a lot of lessons to learn that time. But obviously, I didn't see it. Then I went inside. Then during my prison experience, I kind of saw what God was trying to show me, and what my family was trying to tell me as well. Get a good education, all the sort of stuff. What your parents share with you, and it's actually, despite at the time I didn't want to listen, but they're right. you know. And so that's when I started my whole journey of learning. And if I wasn't, so when I got released, I carried on. I carried on my studies, and I carried on and done other degrees. So today, I don't want to make this a long story, but today I have a degree in horticulture management, a bachelor degree in applied management, and that was just the second part of my business. I actually went into applied management, which is like a practical business degree. Also, during my business degree, I also jumped on and I did a graduate diploma in HR. So, and I found out like I really enjoyed HR, like which is human resource management, and those are the people who do the hiring and the firing at companies. And then I kind of got shoulder tap from a supervisor on my paper, and he said, "Oh, have you ever thought about doing a master's?" And I laughed at me, because for me, when you achieve a bachelor or even a diploma, that was it for me. The reason I carried on in my studies is not because I wanted to study; I hated studying. But the reason I carried on is because after I got released from prison, I always learned you got to stay active. The minute you're idle, that's when bad thoughts come into your mind, and then you end up doing something stupid, probably. So I didn't want to get to that point. So, and because I wasn't working, I couldn't find a job. I ended up staying in studies, and that's what kept me busy. And then I found a job. I got short of tap for well, first of all, I got short of tap for a job, which was to be a contractor for the Auckland Council in terms of waste management. And my job there was to go out and share with the whole of South Auckland and let them know of the changes that are coming up in terms of their rubbish collection. So back then, South Auckland, we used to put our rubbish bags on the road, right, for collection every 1 day a week. But there was no recycling, nothing of that sort. But Auckland Council saw a problem that was going to get worse in 10 years from that time, and that was just our rubbish. What do you call it?
Landfill.
Landfills.
Our rubbish fills. There was no more room for our rubbish, and so so they thought, oh, this is going to be a huge problem. We need to start recycling to reduce the rubbish. And then so they hired me as a contractor to go out and let the whole South Auckland community that there's going to be changes, which is what today you see the wheelie bins. So I was a part of that movement, and so those changes came in on the back of work that I done, plus other people that were passionate about,
So,
not
so
passionate
you're
about
the reason.
rubbish.
You're the reason why we can't put out 20 rubbish bags, eh? In our front.
Yeah,
We're gonna chuck everything inside the bin.
Are you the reason why
We're
they
gonna chuck
downsized the
everything inside
bins? I can only fit one rubbish bag in the bins, Ali.
That's why we have to go put it next door neighbours' bins now.
hey, I did say, hey, for us islanders, we need like 10 rubbish bins. Hey, but
Hey, man.
these people they don't want to listen to me. So I tried, boys, I tried. But everyone knows that things with council is inevitable, so it's going to happen whether we like it or not. So it was important for me to get the message out there. So and I guess that's where I found the love and my passion for working in the community, because I was going to churches, schools, sports clubs to share this message. And honestly, who the hell's going to listen to you when you want to talk about rubbish? And then I thought one day, why don't I just talk rubbish? Like literally. And then I don't know, for some reason, these community groups that actually started to become, take a liking to these workshops. Trust me, it was so hard to preach to them, because at the time we're still putting our rubbish bags out. So they were like, "Oh, stuff this. I'm just gonna go put another 20 rubbish bags out on the curb," and that's what it was hard. But I eventually got through to a lot of groups, and they were instrumental in terms of sharing the message. So that was my job. But at the same time, I was also invited by my supervisor at course to actually look at doing a master's. Then he sent me this application form, and when I got to the bottom, it said the cost of the course was 20,000 Australian, and I went, what the hell? And I told him, I didn't even fill it out. I gave it back to him, and I said, nah, stuff this. Where am I going to come up with 20K? And I said, I didn't even have a job. And then he goes, hey, don't worry. That's why I said fill out the application, because there was actually to get a scholarship. And the master's I was going to complete was at Southern Cross University in Australia. And that's why it wasn't 20K Australian. But somehow my application for a scholarship didn't work out. but he had another plan. He's the main driver behind me actually getting into a masters, and yeah, I'm blessed today. I actually completed a master's in management through Massey University, which he was quite instrumental in, and so yeah, I owe a lot to him. But also, again, I just want to say I owe a lot to my family and my friends because of that support I had from them. I'll be honest, my what drove me to actually complete my first bachelor degree was because I wasn't the first one, and neither was I the second in my family. My mum was actually the second one to achieve her bachelor degree, and that's what pushed me to go. Hey, if my mum can do it, shucks, I can do it.
Yo, shout
For
out to
me,
mom.
yeah, yeah, no, huge shout out to mum. And mum did, worked really hard at a time after looking after 10 kids. Man, mum, hey, what a legend. And she still managed to go back and study and work. And she works in she's a qualified ECE teacher, still working there now. And but yeah, that's one of the main drivers. My older brother was the first one. He's always been that educator kind of guy, whereas the rest of us was like, oh yeah, we'll go school, eat our lunch. Yeah, I even tried to do that at uni, just go uni, eat my lunch. But I knew that straight away,
I still do
I've seen
that. I still eat my lunch.
Hey, that first degree was it? That first degree was it on horticulture? You said.
Yeah, so horticulture management, and because you can't jump levels in the horticulture. You got to start from level 2, and that's level 2 and level 4. Then you got to go for your diploma. So yeah, the first one is horticulture management. Is yeah, my second one is applied management. Yeah.
For those that don't know, like myself, what horticulture is.
Yeah.
What is it, G?
What is it? Before I ask Siri.
Oh, it's just you're basically like learning anything about about plants and stuff. The whole
plants, eh?
Yeah, the whole green.
No, sorry.
Shoot.
Oh, is that what you wanted to point out?
Hey,
you didn't handle.
God bless us.
Hey, it's a plant, Oos. It's a plant.
Yeah. God bless us.
This is for this particular plant that we all know, that we're all thinking of, I think. What are you guys' thoughts on it? Decriminalize? Hey!
No comment, no, Jason.
Hey! Because there's people that want to drop the... Hey, like, make it less... decriminalize it.
Well, I'll be honest. I'll share my vote on the matter. I actually voted no against it, only because the effects it had on me personally, and it affected me, and let's be honest, 9 times out of 10 it was a good feeling, but I felt like but that like over the long run, because I did it for quite a lot each day for like years, it had a negative impact on me. Yeah.
Then it brings up the question of like driving under the influence and that.
Yeah, and I guess the main question is that people say to me, "Oh, what's the difference between that and alcohol?" And I say to them, "Well, simply the difference is that one's legal, one's illegal." That's. I mean, I know that voting was to make it legal, but I figured like, maybe it'll be double trouble if you have the alcohol and that plant, decriminalized. So yeah, that's just the way I voted against it, and yeah.
I think this is a question for the panel. I think my Uso Bobby needs help with his garden. So what's the best way to plant the plants? Asking for a friend. Not a good friend. Oh, there's the part. Whether it's outdoor or indoor.
Oh, you're being a bit specific there, Bobby.
Oh,
Bobby.
I think it's a fair question. You know, you might want to grow your veggies inside.
Are we talking about plants or human beings? Oh man, hey, easy question to answer. You just plant it in the ground, eh?
In the ground.
Every plant is the same. Plant it in the ground, make sure it gets a lot of water, a lot of sunshine.
Just make sure, Bobby, you water the plants. All right.
If it's outdoor, make sure that the eagle in the sky can't see it.
Bobby, spray it and forget it.
Yep, spray and forget it, right? Yeah. Thanks for the question, cuz. But yeah, that's kind of what my life looked like when I left prison. It was a whole lot of education, and like again, like in part one, I wanted to, I guess, not re-educate myself, but actually educate myself properly.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really listen before that. So I knew that I didn't really give myself a chance to kind of get educated. And that's the only way I saw myself getting into like a role, or even having a chance to get a job. And because I, first of all, I didn't have any education, so that was already against me. Plus, I've got a criminal record. That was another thing. So those two big crosses, meant that, like, I honestly told me that, shucks, you don't deserve a job. But obviously, I came out real positive after that experience, and I was determined. I went through hundreds of rejection. And those rejections made me feel bad. But the very next day, I'll forgive all those people who rejected me, and then I'll move on. Go apply for another 100 jobs.
Big props.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think, like the Bible says, I don't know what exact scripture it is, but it talks about don't let the sun go down on your problems. And ever since that, I kind of adopted that verse into my life. Even though sometimes that I do, but I'm determined to get on top of it, because the reason why you don't want your problems to get on top of you, because tomorrow brings a whole new group, a lot of problems. So if you keep putting it in the back and not dealing with it, that's how we end up in the situation where we go through these challenges in the mind. The mind's the battlefield, and the only way to win that battle in your mind is to get over the problems right then and there. And so that's why it rang true to me, that verse. I mean, hey, you're not always going to have a perfect time trying to get over your problems, and that's why it does help to talk to people. And again, that's why I give props to this platform, because this platform allows us to speak out, and that's the first thing we need to do. It's tough for us men to speak out, but like through that time, I must say that my life after prison, after getting qualified education wise, and then actually getting like really good jobs, and today I'm in a really good job and I'm in a really good space. And as because of this job, I managed to, me and my wife, we purchased, this is our second house here in Drury, and like, with the market being so tough for people to buy in, today it's oh man, it's really sad to see. We actually went through the beginning of those problems, but we're so blessed to purchase the house that we're in today, and it's a brand new house. Like, everything just fell into place. It's a bloody headache of a process to go through, but at the end of it, it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
I know a lot of mates that are trying to get into the housing market or get on the ladder, and I'm trying my hardest to support them as well. And anyone that I know, because I know, man, that it's a tough situation to be in, but because of that job I have now, can't really say what it is.
Horticulture.
Yeah, but it's a government agency.
Government.
Yes,
Dude.
yeah, I work.
Serious.
Yeah, and like
Selling
to even
plants.
be.
I don't want to say anymore if it's a government agency. The choppers are already frequent around me.
Hey, but yeah, I'm so blessed to be in this job because this job actually allows me to work with my community, and which is what I always strive to be. And I love working with my community. It has its moments, and that's the truth. But it's nothing rewarding than helping someone out or helping people out. Without talking about money and stuff like that, but you're really genuinely helping them out, and it's from the heart. And because a lot of these people that come across your path, they were probably in very similar positions than yourself, so that I was able to help at that level. But yeah, I'm really blessed to be in the job that I am now, because that's what obviously my wife's in a really good job too, and so that's what really helped us purchase our first and then our second house. But we managed to upgrade from the first house. We sold that one in Otara, and we bought this one out here in Drury. So we don't actually own two houses, but we've in the space of say three years, we've managed to purchase at least two houses in the experience. So I count myself lucky, even to be in the job that I am now. Considering my record, and that the
Hey,
organization that hired me. Sorry.
they wrote us before you. Sorry, before you move on. How you say that your criminal record? They must have like a huge. They must put like a big like a hold on you from applying for applying for other jobs. Before you applied for this government job, um, you were saying no, you've been bounced from 100+ jobs. Is it because of? Is it because they didn't give you a chance to actually to read your whatever your CV and with the amount of qualifications you had? Um, Basically, when you had that criminal conviction, did it just basically cut it off there? How was
Yeah.
that?
So I mean, most of you guys know what the process is. When you apply for a job, you don't exactly tell them then, but you kind of make a note to tell them in the interview if you get that far. So when I filled out for most of the jobs, I filled out the application and I ticked the box that said, yeah, I had a criminal record. And then sometimes they give you an opportunity to start, but they wait for the vetting to complete. But that normally comes about a month later, some quicker than that. But sometimes I'm already in jobs, and then the vetting comes across their desk, and then they ask me. So these are jobs that I didn't even have an interview. They just gave me a start date. I started, and then they asked me, "Oh, why didn't you disclose that you had a criminal record?" And I said, "I did. That's why you're looking at." So, and then some of those jobs actually didn't turn out, so I actually lost it because of that. But some of them, they actually gave me a chance. So I knew people out there were willing to give me a chance. I guess kind of having that conviction, like Terry said, it kind of held me back from applying for the jobs that are like the jobs that I'm in now, because it's government agency, eh? And I thought, man, these guys are not going to give me a job. But it turns out to be a blessing in disguise. The whole process worked out actually quite good, and I was actually quite lucky to have the people on the other side within the organization that gave me the chance. And I actually thought that, so with the with your so these are clean slate law, right? And that clean slate law looks at if you have not been in trouble with the police or the law, and you're not facing any current court cases and all that, for 7 years, they actually clean. Yeah, they actually give you a clean slate. They actually wipe your record, and then in the system, and it just happens automatically. In the system, it's like you never committed a crime. So I use that to leverage and then apply for a job in a government agency. But what I didn't understand is that I didn't really read their legislation properly. So it was about a month or 6 weeks after that, I got called into the office with my manager and the HR, and I was thinking, man, I already knew what it was for. And well, I sat down with them, and they just said to me, "Oh, why didn't you disclose your criminal record?" And I said, "Oh, I did, but what do you call it? Because I didn't disclose it in the interview because I thought I didn't need to." And at that point, I think I had been out of prison for 8 years, so I thought I fell under the clean slate law. But they actually turned around and said to me, "Oh, I actually read it wrong. It's actually if you haven't been incarcerated, that clean slate law applies to you. But because I was incarcerated, their criminal record stays on forever for the rest of my
Oh,
life." And so, because I was genuine in that, they actually turned around and said to me, "Well, we're happy to keep you. We're happy to keep you, providing that you tell us your story." So I told them the story, and they actually like kind of got a bit emotional in the story, because I shared similar to what I shared in my first part. And so that's why I was able to keep my job. So I've been in this job for about 6 years now, and I love
Nice.
it. I currently I'm currently the manager there, and yeah, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it, and they've been nothing but good to me, and a lot of my blessings come as a result of that job, and also meeting my wife, and and all the blessings that's come through for her. Together that's done us really well, and it's put us in the position that we are today. And so, but yeah, that's basically
What a story, Reese.
my story. Upon after prison, it's
mm.
there's a whole lot more that
I
I'm
also
doing
got
right
a
now.
question.
I'm at, yo, yep,
Oh, yo, like I remember going into prison. You wanted to like crack the rugby scene. Eh? Did you
yeah,
try pursue it after, or did you think you could? Or
yeah. I went back to my local club, East Tamaki, rugby, but yeah, I think I don't think I was trying to pursue a rugby career. I just wanted to get back into it and see what it was like.
oh, yeah,
Being away from the scene for so long. I know I had those opportunities prior to going inside, but I think for me, I wanted to. I guess I was just happy to be out and just
oh, I see.
be around family more than. And I think that if I was ever to get an opportunity to go overseas around that time, I think I would have probably turned it down anyway, because it made me so happy to be around family, be back in my
Yeah.
community and stuff like that, be around the boys. So I went back to my local club and just, I guess, kicked it there, and that's probably where my career ended. you know,
Oh, yo,
you know,
man.
and
We
so
didn't. We
I
didn't.
kind of,
We didn't get your retirement post.
well, I hung the boots up like 50 million times, but
Yeah.
you just get that taste for footy, and I guess I kind of finally hung up the boots 2015, and I took on a coaching role, and I enjoyed that too, and I think it's up to like 2019. I actually took over as chairman of the club, and
Mm.
got to experience a bit of that, running the club, running everything off field, trying to put teams together and stuff. That's a really good experience. Some bad experience in that too, but I learned from it. Got a bit of
Yeah.
the support from family again. So family was supporting me right through, up to today. And but there's a lot of things that I actually committed to in the community. I'm a trustee on a few boards, and we basically make decisions that benefit the community. Um, and but yeah, so a lot of that stuff, I always believe that instead of taking from the community, which is probably what I was doing prior to when going inside, I decided that I want to give back and keep giving back. And so I sit on a lot of boards, and I get to make really important decisions for our community, and not just for Otara, but for South Auckland. And that's why I feel I'm really blessed. And I think in the last year I decided to take a step back and actually, I guess, give more time to home, and
Nice.
and and yeah, so and actually trying to step back and actually have a look, just kind of reflect on what I've done, because it's so hard when you're always moving, and plus, to be honest, I was getting pretty stressed at a few of the organizations I was part of, because you get so passionate and you want to drive change, positive change for your people and for your community, that somehow or another, some people on that same board have different plans, and you feel like it's going to take you away from what we even started this for, and so I kind of had to step away from those organizations, because I felt I was going in a different direction. And but it's been a blessing to sit back and kind of relax and reflect on everything I've done. Yeah, I'm proud of what I've done, but I think when you look at when I look at other leaders in our community, they've done way more than what I've done. And so you kind of want to be like them, kind of live up to their, like, I guess the great things they've done, and I guess just be a part of that legacy. But yeah, I do a lot in the community,
And
and
hey, bro,
still do.
who, like, within the community, who have you looked up to, or who have been your uh, a few of your role models
Um,
that you think? Yeah.
well, there's quite a few people. So first of all, um, I guess I gain a lot of my strength from the old man. Like the old man is just the old man. He's there. He grinds and grinds hard. But I like his ethics and his approach to things. Even the old lady, it's very true. So I wanted to at least take those principles and morals into what I do. And then obviously there's like people like in the community that are current today. You know, one of them's our counselor, or Fissel. He's done a lot. He's done a lot for me, in terms of what I do in the community. Um, but most of these people, like even my friends, they do a lot of they do a lot with the youth, and the likes of Alan Barr and all that. Those things, those people I look up to, because they came and they made a dent in the community when things were tough in Otara. Gangs, shooting,
Mm.
killing, all that sort of stuff, and that's when they came in and made that dent. There's a whole lot of other people like Sully Pyer. I don't know if you know Sully Pyer. Um, he started the movement of Cross Power in 274. But those guys I kind of looked up to when I was a kid, because as a kid, we were allowed to roam the streets and end up on the other side of Otara. But you just had to be home before dark, before otherwise you're gonna get
Yeah.
discipline from your parents. But yeah, so we roamed in, and Sully always took us in. Sully always took us in. So I remember those little things. I also looked up to these a lot of people I can say, but those are some of the names I looked up to. Um, Also, one person I wanna um, plug is my older brother. My older brother, like, I don't know if he realizes it, but he actually taught me like a lot about life, and a lot about life. And so it was good having an older brother, because he's my only older brother, because I'm the second oldest. So
Mm.
so I really looked up to him, and he showed me like life and experiences and stuff like that. Even things that we go, oh, ooh, you know. But he told me that, like, out of confidence, because he said, oh, well, that's what happens. So but I just want to make that plug out, and towards him, because he was there because the old man was busy with working, so he was hardly home. And good for him because he paved the way for our family and for us and us kids to do what we needed to do. So my older brother was there. He acted as a role model for me. So I'll put my older brother up there in high regards because of what he's done. And like he was like kind of like my hero. Like I was looking up to because I learned a lot. And then also my little brothers like Terry and all my siblings because you can be I'm older than them.
Did you just
but
feel sorry?
I also
Did you
learned
just
a lot from
feel
them.
sorry for me?
Uh,
Did you just feel sorry for me?
You got the big call up, Bruce. You got the big call up.
Yeah, he's like, oh
This is
shit.
because this podcast
Forgot
is better,
that I'm on my
better
brother's
make it
podcast. I didn't mention his name, mate.
Put his name there. You have to look at the.
Shit, I
You have
forgot
to
his
look at the
name.
corner there to remind him of your names.
I was moving pretty fast on the side, but yeah, all good.
Ian, is your work mainly
No, but straight
in
up, like,
Otawa?
yeah. So I'm based in Otawa. Yeah.
You sometimes come
based in
around
Otawa.
Mangana, or just mainly in
I come
Otawa?
around because these branches in every community. So I do plug in Mangere, Otahu, Manukau, like everywhere in South Auckland, but also the region because we're region wide. Yeah. So we're region wide. So these so we try. I try to support the cause out in every community because every community is different. But whatever the current issues are out there, we try go along and help our colleagues out there, and we try and make a plug out there and see if we can support the cause out in those communities. So yeah, I'm in Mangere a lot. Yeah.
I know you said you can't talk about your work, but can you just give us like a broad area of it? Is it youth work or?
Yeah, I don't think it minds, but I don't think anyone minds. But so I currently manage the Otawa Library, and so I work in the that's the arm that I work for under council, and yeah, I mean like the library's been probably like a home or safe haven for me as a kid. That's where everyone goes and they feel safe. And I remember one day there's a story I shared. I won't share it tonight, but there's a story I shared at the interview, which really got them. And it was my story as a kid, and I always thought I would see myself in a library. But to be honest, as you grow up, you never ever think about working in a library. And I got a lot of respect for librarians because I actually didn't think they did much, to be honest, but scan books. And but actually working for them and being their manager, but they do a lot of work,
Yeah,
and plus they do a lot of.
Not a joke. The Dewey Decimal System is
bro.
not a joke.
Hey, it's not a joke because I still don't know how to do Dewey Decimal. I hope my boss is not listening. So I just manage my stuff and they do all the work. But I got a mean team out in Otawa, and but yeah, they do some solid ass work with our communities. And honestly, there's a lot of programs they do that's very beneficial for our communities, and they target the way they look at the community. They've got a real heart for their community, eh? And they run like CV programs, licenses, driver's licensing, and all that sort of stuff. And I never even knew that. Like I thought life was just a place of books, but but they're more than that, eh? And I totally understood that when I worked for them. I was actually going, man, shucks, I got a lot of respect for these guys. So yeah, I might not have a job tomorrow, but at least I put it out there.
bro, but that's buzzy, man. Cause like now that I think about it, every time I go like in the evening or like during school holidays, bro, it's always packed with kids. The libraries.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's certainly a safe haven for our kids. Like, even though we're in level 2, we can't really allow much people inside, only because of the numbers of people you're allowed to safely social distance. But our kids always turn up. They're always there. Whether it's there finding their wife of the future, we're jumping on the computers, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, but we are like libraries are kind of modernized. Some of them anyway. Most of the South Auckland ones are, because we have table tennis in there. We have gaming like PS4 running. You know, anything to I guess it's like a reward for our kids when they finish school. You know, they come from school and a hard day of working, you know, studying and doing all their thing, and then I guess it's kind of like a reward for them when they come into the library. But everything we do, it stimulates their learning. So we don't just do things just because of the sake of it, but it's to stimulate the literacy within us. And we know a lot of the low decile communities, we struggle in numeracy and literacy. So I guess we try to give back to our kids in some form or another. But we know, like Otara alone, like I can't speak for other communities, but Otara, we're very practical people. You give them a book to read, and then they probably won't read it. But you give them an incentive to read a passage, not even a page, a passage. You know, say, oh, well, if you read a passage, you can jump on the computer, because that's what we do with our kids. Oh, they're more than happy. They go and speed read. They speed read for those books, then, you know, but they don't. You know, I think in hindsight, they kind of understand what we're trying to achieve with them, and you know, our kids are educated. We just need to give them that chance, and so that's kind of like something I learned when I started working in libraries, was that very thing, like how talented they are, not just on the sports field, because a lot of them are, but you know, they got a wonder brain, you know, and you know, kids are just who they are. They say everything that comes out of their mouth,
That's it, bro.
you know.
That's
so
it.
that's something I kind of had to deal with, because some of the stuff they were saying, you know, and it's the truth, bro. It's the truth. And I'm sitting there going, oh wow, you know, and so, but no, I love my job. Like I love it, like straight up. It's probably the first job that I've actually started, and I've enjoyed it from day one. You know, I used to be a landscaper prior to that. You know, so. You know, it's funny how I transitioned from a landscaper into a librarian, and a lot of people laugh at it. But you know, to be honest, like I guess for me it wasn't like a lot of people used to ask me, "Oh man, this must not be a high-paying job," and I went, "Oh, sad," like because of the librarian job. But you know, a lot of people used to say that to me, and I'm like, well, actually, they do well. You know. I can't say how much I'm getting paid, but you know, obviously, if I've achieved what I've achieved in my life, they do look after you. And but I guess for me, it's not even about that. Yes, it's nice to have money. That's why you go work, you know, to pay the bills. But
Facts,
yeah, for me, it's more about like how I reach out to my community and how I make that connection, because you know, it's really important that we do that, especially in this day and age with COVID and all that. There's a lot of disconnect when we get made to lock down at home, and you know, we don't have that, you know, that face-to-face conversation with social media. There's none of that stuff happening. But honestly, it brings me delight when I see kids walk through that door, and they pick up a book and they open it and read it, and I say, man. Because I think I was in the generation where I missed that whole thing, reading. Because library, I went to library as a kid. Like mum used to take us on the holidays, but because we knew we're going to the pools, so we were always keen to go to the library because we're going to the pools. And then the old lady after the pools used to take us and get some fish and chips from the town centre. Then after that, we'll go to the library before we head home. But you know, that was the kind of like the routine in school holidays. But I enjoyed it. But as I grew up as a kid, I thought, man, I'm too cool to go to libraries. Let's go hang out with my friends on the street, you know. But like back then, as a kid, you know, as a millennial, we never had PlayStations and stuff.
Were you doing horticulture as a kid too?
Start selling on the streets.
Terry's just finding out you guys went to the fish and chip shop before the library.
Did you guys go to the pool?
Without him.
Did you guys get pools?
Oh, so we left them at the pools and
When
we
I
went
was
to
still
the
at the-
chips.
When I was still at the library,
All
you guys
these
were at the
years
pool.
was
Okay.
all these years.
No wonder I was
She was-
looking around.
She was
And
trying to be
nobody
the
there.
king bomber. Trying to do his manus at the pools. Then we snuck off to the fish and chip stop.
So Terry.
But yeah, it's But no, honestly, like that whole thing was quite. It was. I feel like we were lucky as kids, because I guess we didn't have that experience of I think it was back then. It wasn't PlayStation. It was the Sega Master System,
Yo, yeah.
and we couldn't even afford that. So we were playing Alex the Kid. We had to go over to our cousin's house to play it. But back then we used to go down to the creek, catch some mules, build tree huts, go and eat at the neighbor's house, all that sort of stuff. That was
Crazy.
that was a cool upbringing, eh? And so I kind of feel blessed to have been brought up in that era, So, no, this guy.
Just a question. Is it a question or is it a?
And did you think
From-
about from rocky driveways when you decided to change your?
Did you think about people walking driveways? did you?
Want to read that out, Swanky?
Do you care or do you not?
From Jeremiah, Ian, did you think about people with rocky driveways when you decided to change from rubbish bags to wheelie bins? Did you?
Oh yes.
Hey?
Oh, so my mate
I
over
gotta
here.
emphasize the hey?
Yeah.
So my mate over here's got a long ass driveway and it's all rocky, it's all stony. So I guess he's. Hey mate, you were the one. You didn't even bring the rubbish bins in, bro. It was your little brothers.
Oh no! Oh no!
I was trying to fight for some rubber tires, but obviously when you get to the big honchos at the council, they will like look at you and laugh because they don't care. They don't have driveways. But I guess I'll be living with this decision for the rest of my life. Hey, I wasn't the only one that made this decision.
Yeah.
Hey, at least I thought about transitioning from rubbish bags where your dogs and your cats used to eat it. Then you used to go pick up all the rubbish that they made into a rubbish bin where you don't have to clean up the rubbish.
Yeah.
But you can't win it. You can't win in this world.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I have to go
Sweet,
back to
bro.
that department and start working.
Yeah, shout out to the chat that's come through. Sent questions throughout the podcast. Yeah, bro. If you've got anything you want to add, anything else you want to add to close off?
Oh. Just a question, Ian.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys asked the last time, because I left early. But you know how like our bro just watching too much Netflix of like innocent people doing time, and then when they come out, then they then they find out that they are innocent, and they get something back. Did you get anything back from the government or anything? Or?
No, because I didn't appeal
Oh, true.
my conviction. I had a chance to, but I kind of left it because I was at a point where I had made peace with it. I should have, but I guess in hindsight, I still believe I made the right decision in not appealing it. Like I said to the boys in the first one, I was too scared to appeal it because I heard a lot of bad things if you appeal it and lose.
Yeah.
Like I could restart my sentence again or get more. And the boys were telling me you have to make sure you make the right decision. And because it's happened to a few of the boys inside, so I thought, man, I don't want to do this. But I think one of the reasons why I didn't really want to, and was mainly because I kind of made peace with myself, because I was actually kind of feeling like I actually, I kind of accepted why I was there, because even though I didn't do it, like I've done some other stuff, that probably should have landed me in prison, but I didn't get caught for that stuff. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to make out that I was doing criminal
Yeah.
stuff,
That's-
but like as a kid, you do things that you're not really proud of. Not as much, not as bad as what I got sent in for, but but I kind of looked at it like that because I try to look at the positive side to it. It was really hard, and it's not until I went to the experience. So no, I didn't get a payout because I didn't appeal it. But while you're on that topic, I just want to, I guess, say also, because I know Terry mentioned it in the last part, that there's a lot of innocent people inside, but I guess that's kind of what helped me through my time, because they just took it on the chin. And I thought, man, how can they do that? Like, they're innocent. Why are they fighting it? But to find out that they did fight it, but the system was, it's so badly run, bro. It's so badly run, like straight up, like the system in New Zealand, the justice system, they don't care, bro. They don't care. And basically, I was already guilty before I even went through all this court case because of my color skin, the community I live in. I'm a young, so I fit the description, eh?
I mean,
fit this
after that first
description.
sentence, you sort of lose faith in the system, eh?
Yeah, I did. I did lose faith. Like I do believe that I do have a little bit of faith in the system because they actually do their job. But I guess there's a lot of times where they make mistakes, and unfortunately for those people that are serving time similar to my experience, that's tough, man, because they have to spend time away from their family, their kids, and that's what I can't get past because they've done longer time than me. Some of them in their 10+ years, and some of them in their murder, and they didn't even commit the murder. And that's what I had to experience when I was inside. And like, these people are just taking life by the horns, and they're just moving forward. They were actually like, because of their reaction towards their charges and how they dealt with it. That's how I was able to deal with it. And because we kind of mirror our feelings of other people, and then we start to think, oh shucks, my life is not exactly as hard as these guys, because here I am thinking, don't get me wrong, I didn't do the crime, and that's wrong for anybody, but I guess that's why I worked on that life towards change, and I wanted to be a better man for myself, because I know there's a lot of work on for me. I want to become a better person to my family and to everyone that I cross paths on, and not just being this guy, because I kind of felt I live a fake life before I went inside. When I say a fake life, it's like I wasn't happy. I seriously wasn't happy. I try to be happy and try to please everyone around me, and I knew that that's not the life you want to live, because it makes things harder for you, because you're always trying to please people, but the only one I was actually able to be true around was my boys and my family, but everyone else, I try to please them, and it kind of turned out wrong. So,
Charles?
because they kind of turned on me and all that sort of stuff. So I knew I wanted to be the opposite of that guy, when I get out. And that's, yeah.
Just got a question for Sifa or Chief from Baza.
Oh, Barry.
So, question for Sifa: did you use the library computer for other stuff in school?
Always
Is
did
it an
my
inside
homework
joke?
also.
Or...
It's my next door neighbor.
Shout out to the next door neighbor.
Shout
Shop
out.
fans.
Thanks for tuning in. But answer the question.
Man, I was playing those online games, eh?
Oh, yo. Yeah, those games.
Yeah, always on online games.
Yeah.
Pairs, eh?
Looks like
Naughty.
sounds like Baza was next to you. On the computers.
Sweet boys. If y'all don't have any questions for Ian, or if Ian has any questions for the chat, whatever, go ahead. But
Shout out Ian.
Sure, boys.
Well,
Yeah, so
just a chat
from
showing
Bobby.
love.
Yeah.
Chat showing love from Bobby. Bigs up to those for making a difference here when he got out. Expect that
Thanks,
100
cuz.
Lazarnia won't square back together.
Thanks, cuz. Thank
So
you.
Bobby,
But Bobby. Yeah, so yeah, man, it's for us, it's kind of good to see, I guess, both sides of how you transition from being inside, and here you are now. So it's good to see that you've, I guess, moved on from where you are. Hey, you're trying to take over my show. But yeah, so yeah, it's good to see that you've moved forward in achieving your goals, and it's, I guess, you've had a platform, and you've had people behind you that supported you. So, and I think shout out to the family, to your friends, that have supported you all the way, and also thank you for sharing your story with us and to the world. Basically, the world's, um, well, hopefully the world. We're hoping to to spread this message. But yeah, shout out to everyone that's on our page and is listening, tuning in. Um, we've still got questions flying in. I think if you have any, Swanky, I can't really see from here.
I just want to answer this question from person from Facebook. Did you ever feel like you could be a part of the justice system in the future and be
Ooh.
the change for the people, like yourself? Yeah, no, I tried, but it's a little bit hard when you've got a conviction. You can't even, yeah, you can't even, yeah, that's one area I can't get into. I try to be a youth worker, and that's also another area I couldn't get into. But in saying that, like my job now allows me to be that mentor for youth.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
Allows me
so
to
that
be
that
that mentor
question,
to those who are currently going through the experience. Yo,
that question was sent in by Aroha Tata, cuz.
oh,
So that last
another
one.
cousin. Nice.
Mm.
But yeah,
shout out
but
Aloha.
yeah, I definitely, yeah, I definitely wanted to. Like I was helping young youth and inside when I was inside, and a few of them I took under my wing, because they were just innocent young fellows, and that's they're another group of people inside that I really felt humbled to be around, because you know that's why I take a lot of lessons from younger people, like younger than myself, and because I think, man, the way they approach life, it's something that I wouldn't like. They took it like with a lot of confidence. These are the young people inside, and I see the same thing on the outside. Like I see it a lot. Our young people are so gifted, but some of them that I that are getting into trouble. It's easy for us to throw shade at them and say, "Oh man, you're just another one of those kids."
Mm.
Even sometimes I say the same thing, but because I see it all the time, every day in my line of work, and but but that's how allowed me. My experiences allowed me to actually see the good side in them, eh? And but that's kind of how I guess that's how I anyway I can answer that question. I did want to be a part of the justice system, but I can't because of my conviction. I tried many times, and yeah, so I guess this is where God wanted me to speak to them, and it was through my role as in the libraries, because I get to see all walks of life come through there.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm blessed, and I guess that was a really important. That's actually a good question, because that's the reason why I do what I do
Yeah. Shot you.
Awesome.
today.
That's
And
us.
I do a lot with my HR degree. I do help a lot of people who go through a lot of issues with the law and the legislation through the employment. In terms of helping them when they get dismissed at work, helping them back into their employment because you know they've been wrongly dismissed. And see, that's the thing. Like I'm always prepared to help someone that's been vilified for all the wrong reasons, and that's why I feel like I'm here today, and I exist. But yeah. Thanks also, Maya, for always being a good friend to me, and you still are today. Milo boys, love our Milo.
Milo boys.
Milo,
Sweet boys. Again, yeah, the shout out to the chat for coming through on the live chat, man. It's always good to hear your guys' questions or the support that you
Yes,
do
thank
share
you,
with
chat.
us. Thank you.
Mm.
So
Except
we'll
for
come
the last
to
comment there from Jeremiah. Oh, sorry, let's carry on.
Oh no, but no, thanks guys. Yeah. So I think that's. I guess I'm still trying each day. Don't get me wrong. Like my life is not perfect, and I still go through challenges each day. But I think it's about having a process that you always go back to every time you face times like this. And if that process always works, then you keep going back to it. You know, I have a process, and sometimes people around me don't understand what it's like, what it is that I'm doing. Even my wife, and that's my fault because I don't tell anyone what I'm doing. And but I'm actually going through a process to actually deal with the challenges that I face. I might sound confident. I might sound confident, but it's only because what do you call it? I prepare myself each day. I prepare for anything, and
Charles.
like the saying goes for Richie McCaw, how does he approach things in life? And he said because he's a pilot, he said he always prepares for a storm. So what happens when a storm hits? Because 9 times out of 10 he's flying his plane in the beautiful sun. No no clouds in the sky. But when there's storm hits, you need to know what happens before that. You can't say, "Oh, what do I do now when the storm hits?" Because it's too late. So I guess I kind of approach life like that too. Well, most of the time. Sometimes I just don't. You know. But yeah. Again, I'm not
Oops.
perfect. But I do thank God and everyone around me for the achievements that I have today because I kind of wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And yeah. And always don't feel afraid to talk and open up. You know, if your friends laugh at you, but that's because they actually do care behind their laughter. But but someone's listening.
it's
Yeah.
always the
Someone's
case.
always
The
listening.
laugh comes out. The laugh comes out first, but when you actually listen to
Yeah.
the meaning behind it, it kind of resonates. So
Yeah, no, it is. Thanks, guys, on the chat. You know, um, kudos to you guys for jumping in. If there's anyone out there that needs to talk or anything, just let me know. Yeah.
so just before we close off with advice, our last bit of segment for a podcast. This last one is a special one. So this is from Mum, the Rose Toki. So proud of you
Oh
always. Thank you
man.
for sharing. I know it's quite hard. So that's from Mum.
Oh man.
Thanks, Mum. I just want to quickly mention
Shout out to
that
Mom.
I guess this part of the of the segment was actually quite hard for me too. I don't know if it's harder than the experience I shared 2 weeks ago because I'm not the type of person to talk about my credentials. I actually hate it. I really hate it. I just like you know I prefer just walking in the background behind everything while everything's going on in the front. But I just want to pay homage to my mum because I never went to any of my graduations. I got my certificate sent through the mail, and one time I don't think I was home in time to get the certificate, click the certificate from the mailbox. When I came home, my old lady actually said to me, "Why didn't you invite us to your graduation?" And I said, "I didn't go." And then she goes, "Why?" And then she made me realize that it was important not just for me. See, I was being selfish again. I didn't want to show everyone, oh yeah, I got this, because I guess we kind of we think it's been humble, and in a lot of ways it is, but we don't realize that it could change a person in the crowd. It could encourage them and stuff like that, because they look at you and they go, oh, well, man, I'm sure it's possible for me. But I never saw it that way. And the old lady made me see it. But it was too late. I got all the certificates in the mail. So, I didn't, so I didn't go to any of my graduations. And I hate getting up in front of crowds, that's just me. And, but yeah, so, thanks, Mum. And, yeah.
Shows.
So, bro, so we've come to the part of the show where, I guess, if there's anything you can take away from this podcast, we will start off with giving it's advice or something you can take with you home, or something you want to listen to later on in the future. So we'll start off with Swanky.
Suppose. Man, Ian, inspiring stories from how you went through all that experience and to come out the other way, still succeed in life. Oh, very inspiring story. So thank you for sharing. I know at times it was very hard to share some details of your experience. I just want to say thank you. Thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for sharing. I don't have any advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's me, boys.
Ian, do you have anything you want to share?
Oh yeah. Before I share, I just want to make another plug. Sorry, guys.
How many plugs do you?
Are these plugs going to sponsor us? Any plugs going to sponsor?
After next week.
I've counted. I've marked down 10 plugs.
I'm running out of six plugs.
What is this? Is this a family show? What is this? What's going on here?
It's the check's in the mail, guys. The check's in the mail. Now, but shout out to my little sister. She's the baby of the family. She turns 21 next week. Yeah. So thanks, guys. But yeah, I think it's just the same from last week. 2 weeks ago. Sorry. Just seize the day. Seize your opportunity as they come. Take the opportunity. Just remember. Also, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So there's always a choice. There's always a choice, So make the right one. Thank you.
Hello.
Milo.
Imagine tech? Yeah. Oh yeah. Man, I just want to say, man, massive thanks to ENA. Like I know, cause I'm tight with the bro Terry, and for the older bro, like I know it's not easy sharing a story like that, but man, mean love, bro. And like to hear your story, like how you did, like you always told the truth and stuff, bro. Like you're a good role model, man. And, like especially and I love that you're helping your library or the kids, man. You're inspirational also. But yeah, that's from me. That's what I learned from you, bro. Shout out you.
Thanks, bro. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Super.
I guess from me, and I guess it stuck with me. I had a talk with the old lady, and it's basically about sharing, whatever you're going through, whether you're going through a hard time or a good time. But in the past, we've been saying, if you're going through trouble, or if you're going through struggles, share. Share your story, tell everyone. But we never kind of said share the good side. And I guess tonight we saw both. Or tonight and last week we saw both. We saw what happened at the beginning, and at the end of it, that light at the tunnel is where Ian's at now. So I guess for me, for everyone out there, to everyone else out there that's listening, is, you know, share your highs, definitely share your highs, because that's what that's there. We need to celebrate it. We need to celebrate everything that comes with our highs, and also um, we're gonna go through struggles in life. Just hope that there's people behind you and that you can talk to them as well, and that's the share. So basically, just share everything. If you get me, share everything. Doesn't matter if it's high, low, share it, because you need someone to understand it. You need someone to say, yeah, you've done well, or you need someone to say, hey, let's do this. I can support you. So, and at the same time, yeah, thank you to Ian. Thank you for coming on, and we obviously from the boys here, for the boys podcast, we wish you nothing but the best. And yeah, if there's any, if we do have more guests on at some point, and you're willing to jump on the panel and just throw out questions, man, we'll be happy to have you on.
Always welcome.
Always happy
Always
to. Thank you, guys.
So yeah, if that's us, boys. I told
Thank
Ian
you,
not
Chet.
to go over 1 hour. I told Ian not to go over 1 hour. Now it's 1 hour 45 minutes.
Oh, so it's from all the plugging. It's from all the plugging, I swear.
So that's 45.
It's 45 minutes
No,
worth of plugging.
okay.
Something.
Sorry, boys. There's 2 checks in the mailbox.
Ooh.
In the mail, 2 checks. Can't promise there's anything written on it, but they're coming. They're coming.
Ooh.
So
From the
can you
library.
share from Baza? Can you share the highs from your horticulture experience? Asking for
Oh, no.
and
Or catch uppers.
We're losing.
Catch uppers.
We're losing control of the chat.
and can you and if you're at work tomorrow, you know how I say share. Can you share your lunch with me? Sweet boys. So this is for the podcast. This is for the boys podcast. Thank you, everyone.
Happy birthday,
Boys.
Boys.
Oh,
Maryland.
yo, wait, shout out to everyone that's having a birthday. So, Swanky sis, then we got the younger sis, Megan, then we've got a wedding. Is it? That's great.
Yeah, Luke and Maureen. Shout out.
Shout out to them. Any more
Let's
shout
go.
outs? Because Ian's taken like 200 plugs already.
Shout out to For the Boys.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yay!
For a
And we
better
are
make
still
that,
looking for sponsors. We are still looking for sponsors.
Yeah.
He's coming.
Shop boys. Shop
This is for the
chat.
boys podcast. Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Boys.